Beautiful. It's time for The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess review for the Wii. Now before I begin, I just have to say I already own the GameCube version of Twilight Princess, and originally I was just going to review that one only, but I've always wanted to try the Wii's version, so here we go. Sorry. Oh, and one more thing. Since I've played through both versions of Twilight Princess, I have found that both of them are equally good. I don't want to make a review of the GameCube's version, because it's virtually the same game. So, because I feel like they are both equally good and fun, regardless of the different controls, whatever score I give the Wii's version of Twilight Princess, that will be the same score for the GameCube's version. If you've never played a Zelda game, I feel so sorry for you. If you have, then you will fall in love with this game. The story is about how Link is supposed to go to the town of Hyrule and deliver a gift to the royal family from his home village of Ordon. But before he can go, his village is attacked by monsters and Link gets knocked out. After waking up, Link starts to run after the monsters, but is stopped by a huge black and orange wall that leads to the woods. Suddenly, a huge hand comes out of the wall, grabs you, and pulls you in. Once you pass through, you are turned into a wolf and imprisoned. While in the cell, you meet Midna, a small imp-like creature who has strange powers. She tells you that she will free you and help you escape, only if you start to obey her after that. This darkened world is known as the Twilight World, and as long as Link stays in it, he will stay in wolf form. Eventually, he will return to the normal world, where he will revert back to his Hylian self. If you haven't already noticed from the footage you've been watching, the graphics are spectacular. This is by far the best looking Legend of Zelda game to date. Everything looks great. The colors, the detail, the frame rate, everything. It's absolutely beautiful. The controls are very well balanced. To swing your sword, swing your Wiimote. To guard with your shield, hold down the Z button on the nunchuck, and move with the analog stick in the nunchuck. To use any of your items, and there are a lot of them, you will use the B button on the Wiimote. But so you can swap out with any item faster, set them to either the right, left, or down button on the directional pad on the Wiimote. That way, you don't have to go back and forth constantly in your inventory. The music and sound effects are all fantastic. My favorite song was the one where you're in Hyrule Field in the daytime. As you go through the game, Link will gain special sword techniques that are very helpful. There are 7 techniques in all, so make sure you find every one. One noticeable new feature in the game is that Link can now use his sword while riding on his horse Epona. Is it Epona or Epona? I've always heard it Epona. But anyway, this is a really great feature, and was loved by everyone who watched the E3 trailer. I know I did. Another great feature, that might not be as noticeable, is now Link can use his sword while running. I noticed this awesome feature right off the bat, and I thank Nintendo for developing it like that. If you compare the Wii's and GameCube's version of Twilight Princess, you will notice that the Wii's version has been mirrored. In the GameCube's version, Link uses the Master Sword with his left hand, like he does in previous games. But with the Wii's version, to best suit most people, Nintendo decided to have Link hold the sword in his right hand, since he will be swinging the Wiimote to attack. But after playing it though, I don't think it would have mattered if they kept Link using his left hand for his sword. As usual, the game has its share of puzzles and evil puzzles. There are many side quests you can complete as well. Some of them might sound odd, but they all have a purpose. A few of them would be collecting golden bugs, collecting Poe souls, and even obtaining the new hidden sword skills could pass off as a side quest, but you will definitely want to complete that one. The only downsides I found were that 1, most of all the boss fights were just too easy. Some of the levels in the game are harder than the boss you will finish with. Don't get me wrong, the boss fights look great, but they were just too easy. The other downside was with one of the hidden sword techniques controls. With one of them, you have to incorporate the nunchuck's motion sensors with it. The problem is, when you try to use it, the motion sensors will sometimes read it incorrectly, and Link will perform his spin attack instead of the special attack you're trying to pull off. But this downside is so micro in the game's performance, it's barely noticeable. The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess is an excellent game. The controls are very well balanced, the graphics are outstanding, the music and sound effects are fantastic, there are lots of side quests, and the game is very long. The only downsides that I found were the boss fights were too easy, and that tiny snag in the controls for one of the special sword attacks. But that one is so inconspicuous that the game does not get demoted because of it. I highly recommend this game to everyone, for either console. It's worth every single penny. This game gets a 4.5 out of 5 with the title of Epic.